Chapter 6205. Steve, who had experienced the suffering, took a car to the entrance of Antique Street. After closing time, the Antique Street looked deserted like an unfinished building. In this kind of place, there are the most people when the market first opens in the morning and when it closes in the afternoon. At other times, there are basically more staff than customers. This is especially true after closing time. Even stray dogs are not interested in digging for food in the Antique Street. Steve didn't know what this place was for. So he followed the location given by Charlie and found the door of the treasure shop. After confirming that it was this place, he called Charlie and said in a respectful and flattering tone, "Mr. Wade, I'm here. Please open the door." "Okay, wait a moment." Charlie, putting down the phone, said to Peter, who was loading dishes on the folding table, "Uncle Jew, wait a moment, an old acquaintance is here." After that, he stood up, walked to the door, and opened it. "Mr. Wade." Seeing Charlie, Steve smiled all over his face, reached out his hand enthusiastically, and said very politely, "Why did you suddenly invite me here? Do you have any instructions?" Charlie smiled and said, "I don't have any instructions. I asked you to come have a few drinks and meet an old friend by the way." Steve smiled and said, "I only know you as my friend in Orris Hill. And I don't seem to know anyone else." Charlie smiled and said, "You'll know when you come in." After that, he invited Steve in. After they came in, Steve saw someone busy at the small table. He was about to ask Charlie if this person was the old friend he mentioned, when Peter raised his head. Looking at each other, Peter smiled and said, "Mr. Rothschild, we meet again." "I have," Steve trembled with fright and then muttered, "Mr. Wade, I have something else to do. I have to go back first." After saying that, he turned around and walked straight out. Charlie stopped him. "Hey, Steve, where are you going?" Steve turned around, with an expression on the verge of tears, and said to Charlie aggrievedly, "Mr. Wade, you cheated me again. And he still wants to trick me to death." Charlie said with a smile, "Look what you said." "Why? Did I invite you to dinner to trick you?" Steve looked at Peter, lowered his voice to Charlie and said, "Mr. Wade, my father still doesn't know the whereabouts of Peter Jew. And he doesn't know that Peter can leave New York. It's all because his son is cheating. Besides, Peter has already left New York, and my father has no chance to find out the hidden secrets. But if word gets out that I came here to see Peter, I will be really doomed. If my father knows that I sent him and Sifang Baozhuang out of New York, he will break my legs. Please stop torturing me, just pretend that I haven't been here tonight." Charlie patted his shoulder and comforted him. "Don't worry, Orris Hill is my territory. What happens when you are here cannot be spread out, let alone into the ears of the old man." After saying that, Charlie said again, "We are also old friends, can I still cheat you?" Steve asked him with a sad face, "Mr. Wade, you have cheated me enough. If it weren't for your gift, I would have become the head of the family now." Charlie smiled and said, "You can't blame me for this. If you blame me, you are too reserved. Just tell me that you don't want your old man to live too long and want to take over as the head of the family as soon as possible. How can I ask Helena to send medicine? The key is that you have to tell me. How can I know if you don't tell me?" He was so frightened that he waved his hands and said, "No, no, 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 Mr. Wade, please don't say that. I never meant it like that. As a child, I certainly hope that my father will be healthy and live a long life." "How could I not want him to live too long?" Charlie asked back, "Then why did you say that I cheated on you a lot?" Steve didn't know how to answer for a while, so he could only say depressedly, "Yes. I'm not very strict with my words, I take it back." Charlie nodded, "Then I'll give you a chance to do it again." "Ah?" Steve didn't quite understand and asked hurriedly, "What about you again?" Charlie patted his shoulder again and said with a smile, "We have known each other for a long time. Can I still cheat you? It's your turn. Steve understood what Charlie meant and cursed inwardly aggrievedly. You aren't just trying to trick me into death? If they know that I came to Aurus Hill to have a good time with you too. Especially Peter, my position as heir will definitely be lost. You are insisting on dragging me down. However, even though he was filled with dissatisfaction, he did not dare to speak out at the moment. He could only bite the bullet and said, You can't. Mr. Wade, you must not cheat me. That's right. Charlie smiled and said, Come on, the food and wine are ready. Come and have a drink together. Steve panicked and turned half a circle to the left and half to the right before stopping to speak.